After winning the 200 million lottery, I couldn't wait to escape the living hell with my mother. Yet she turned around and told everything to my father. The lottery ticket was stolen, I was beaten half to death, and my mother even fake cried while wiping her tears. As women, we should regard men as our heavens. How could you abandon your father? They splurged money outside while I froze to death that winter. When I opened my eyes again, I silently put away that lottery ticket. Still sleeping? Get up and cook right now. Do you want to starve me to death? Stop pretending to be dead. Pain. It felt like my bones were about to shatter. Curses rained down alongside countless punches and kicks, leaving me gasping for air. I instinctively opened my eyes, an involuntary fierce expression flashing across my face. The man before me reflexively pulled his leg back, only to deliver another, even more forceful kick. You still dare to glare at me? How audacious. Since you're not dead yet, get up and cook for me right now. I was kicked all the way into the corner of the room, the metallic taste of blood filling my mouth. Staring at the filthy, cramped space before me, my eyes landed on the metal-framed bed. I froze. Had I been reborn? Before I could think further, the next kick was already aimed at me. Gritting my teeth against the pain, I scrambled to my feet. I'll go right now. Only then did my father leave, satisfied. Limping to the kitchen, I lit the stove with practiced ease and began cooking. Soon enough, the meal was served. I called out to the other room, and after receiving a response, I retreated to what was supposed to be my bedroom. Though bedroom was too generous, it was more like the household storage room for junk. I straightened out my thoughts and reached into my pocket, indeed finding that lottery ticket still untouched. Yet, an overwhelming sadness spread through my heart. In my past life, every time my father lost money from drinking and gambling, I would inevitably get beaten when he came home. My mother would always hold me and say that if it weren't for me, she would have divorced him long ago. So when I won 200 million yuan in the lottery, I couldn't wait to share the good news with my mother. Mom, I have a surprise for you, I won 200 million yuan in the lottery. From now on, you'll never have to suffer like this again. I was planning where to take Mom traveling with this money, fantasizing about finally being able to live free from Dad with her. But at that time I was so immersed in my own fantasies that I completely failed to notice the struggle in Mom's eyes. Mom, didn't you say you've wanted to divorce Dad for a long time? You should divorce him quickly, then I'll take you away with me. I assumed Mom must have wanted to leave Dad too. But who would have thought Mom would turn around and tell Dad everything? He even stole my lottery ticket for Dad while I was sleeping. After Dad got the money, he tied me up with a hemp rope and beat me for 3 days and 3 nights. I always knew you were an ungrateful wretch, trying to enjoy the fortune alone. Spit on you. You even dared to encourage your mom to divorce me? Don't even think about it. I'll beat you to death, you ungrateful brat. I angrily asked Mom why she betrayed me. You were the one who said you wanted to divorce Dad. Why did you change your mind? All I got in return was a full arm slap from Mom. She looked at my already battered body and burst into tears. Don't blame your mother. We women should regard men as our heaven, how could you abandon your father? With money in hand, Mom went out of her way to please Dad by volunteering to undergo IVF and have a child for him. Our daughter is hopeless. Honey, I want to give you a son this time. A year later, my younger brother was born. With my money, they moved into a luxurious villa and drove high-end cars. I was still confined in that now dilapidated little building, in -10-degree weather, with only a thin quilt to cover myself. In the end, I never lived to see that spring. But now, against all odds, I'd been given a second chance. If Mom loves Dad so much, then they can just stay locked together forever. I took off my clothes and looked at my body, covered in bruises and swelling, then reached under the bed with practiced ease for the medicine to treat myself. This ointment was given to me secretly by a neighbor who couldn't bear to watch anymore. As for my mother, who always claimed everything she did was for my sake, aside from shedding a few tears after each beating and offering a few meaningless words of comfort, She never really did anything for me. My father was a chronic gambler and alcoholic, and all household expenses relied on my mother washing dishes for others. My mother always said she worked so hard for my sake, but from childhood, my tuition fees were covered by my own scholarships, school subsidies, and the money I earned collecting bottles by the roadside during holidays. The money my mother claimed to have earned through hardship all ended up in my father's pockets. Even my clothes each year were either faded school uniforms or hand-me-downs from neighbors. I lived like this for over a decade, trapped in my mother's deceptive love. Thinking about it now, my heart aches with bitterness. I unconsciously tightened my grip on the lottery ticket in my pocket, struck by a sudden thought. Seizing the moment after Dad finished dinner and returned to his room, I went out again. It wasn't until 8 p.m. that Mom came rushing home in a frenzy, urgently pulling me close by the shoulders. "Harper, is there something you want to tell me?" Looking into Mom's eager eyes, my heart sank. I never expected. Mom had actually been reborn too. And even with a second chance, all she could think about was the lottery ticket in my possession. Of course, it was a 200 million yuan jackpot. More money than they could ever hope to see in their lifetime, even if they went without food or drink. But this time I wouldn't be as foolish as before. I had been keeping an eye out before. If I could be reborn, others might be able to as well. Dad's reaction was exactly the same as in my previous life, so he clearly wasn't reborn. Since Mom already knew about the lottery, I couldn't deceive her, otherwise, she'd realize I was reborn too. That would put me in danger. With that in mind, I carefully led Mom into the room just like before. Under her hopeful gaze, I took out a lottery ticket and handed it to her. "Mom, I think I might have won the lottery." Mom snatched the lottery ticket without a word. Even though she lowered her voice, she couldn't hide her excitement. She hugged me tightly, showering me with kisses and caresses. Harper is truly Mom's good girl. Yet I was more curious, would Mom still give the lottery ticket to Dad, just like in my previous life? I had only been reborn because I died. Could it be that Mom had also met some misfortune in the last life? Obviously, I had no way of knowing. But I wasn't foolish enough to trust her either. She had abandoned me in the last life, and this time would be no different. Mom was completely immersed in the fantasy of suddenly coming into a large fortune, entirely unaware that the numbers on the lottery ticket were completely different from those in the previous life. I intentionally tested Mom, should we tell Dad? Mom's expression changed, showing signs of discomfort and disgust. Why should we tell your dad? Haven't you always wanted me and your dad to divorce? Now that I can finally be free of him, aren't you happy for me? I was somewhat taken aback by Mom's reaction. Perhaps, in the end, she didn't fare well either. My silence made my mother think I was acquiescing. She patiently soothed me with a few more words before eagerly taking the lottery ticket and leaving. I listened as the door to the adjacent bedroom opened, followed by my father's angry shouts and my mother's fawning explanations. I was curious whether my mother would tell my father about the lottery win. After eavesdropping all night, she never actually mentioned the lottery ticket. Though the ticket I gave my mother wasn't the 200 million yuan one, it was still worth tens of thousands. The next day, Mom rushed out in a hurry. I guessed she must have gone to the lottery shop. Dad, who rarely got up early, asked, "Why did your mom leave so early in the morning?" Feigning surprise, I blurted out without thinking, "Mom probably went to cash in the lottery ticket." "Didn't she tell you?" After saying that, I covered my mouth as if I'd let slip something I shouldn't have. The moment Dad heard the word lottery, his eyes lit up. He rushed toward me in big strides, demanding, "What lottery? You'd better explain yourself clearly." I took a few steps back, utterly terrified. "If you don't speak up right now, I'll beat you to death." "Yesterday, I bought a lottery ticket and it might have won. I gave it to Mom, but I didn't know she hadn't told you about it." "Ugh. That stupid woman, your mother, she must be trying to take all that money for herself behind my back." I didn't respond. Instead, I picked up my school bag. "Dad, I need to go to school." Luckily, they didn't even know which school I went to. Dad stormed out to chase after Mom. I called the school to take the day off, then pulled out a metal box from under my bed, filled with loose coins, all painstakingly saved bit by bit. I had originally planned to save the money to buy my mom a birthday gift, but now it came in handy. I stuffed all the loose change into my pocket and made sure to disguise myself thoroughly before leaving the house. I bought a train ticket to the neighboring city, and by the time I entered the lottery shop, my outfit was so convincing that not even my own mother would have recognized me standing right in front of her. After cashing in the lottery ticket, minus the 40 million in taxes, I was left with 160 million. Staring at the balance in my bank account, I didn't have time to overthink it. I hastily bought a train ticket back to school. I needed to make it seem like I'd been on campus the entire time. I didn't dare carry the bank card on me, hiding it instead between the pages of a book before stashing it in the classroom reading corner. Who would believe the classroom was hiding 160 million yuan? Night self-study session ended. I had never been so eager to get home. When I arrived, Mom was still sitting on the sofa crying, with no sign of Dad around, probably off drinking again. As soon as I got home, my mother rushed over and grabbed my shoulders, looking at me with pure hatred in her eyes. Why did you tell your dad I went to exchange the lottery ticket? Didn't you want me to get divorced? Why wasn't it 200 million? Have you come back too? Mom glared at me fiercely, as if trying to see panic in my eyes. But there was none. I understood nothing. Mom. What are you talking about? What 200 million? Are you mad that I told Dad about the lottery ticket? I burst into tears. Dad saw how urgently you left this morning and was worried something might have happened to you, that's why I told him. And that lottery ticket was only 30,000 yuan. Where did 200 million come from? Mom, why are you being so mean? Woo-woo. Mom stared at me for a long while, confirming that I might genuinely know nothing, before finally pushing me away, her aggressive demeanor instantly deflating. Slumping onto the sofa in despair, she muttered to herself, why aren't the 200 million there anymore? Could it be because I've been reborn into this life? At that moment, the TV happened to broadcast news of someone from the neighboring county winning a 200 million lottery jackpot. Mom's eyes widened in disbelief. How is this possible? It should have been mine, she exclaimed. She stared fixedly at the masked figure on the TV, her eyes darting between me and the screen. Suddenly, as if possessed, she grabbed me with a death grip. Harper. Did you come back too? Tell me. Was that you claiming the prize? You must resent me, that's why you won't admit it, right? Good guess, but sorry, I won't trust you again, Mom. I was wrong, I was truly wrong. I should have listened to you, I should have gotten divorced. Sobbing, she buried her face in her hands. From Mom's muttering, I managed to piece together the cause of her death in her previous life. After giving birth to my younger brother, Mom suffered severe physical depletion, causing her to become bloated and swollen. Dad then developed wandering eyes, intending to keep a mistress outside. When Mom found out, naturally, a huge scene erupted. Dad wanted a divorce but was unwilling to let Mom take his money in the settlement, so he simply drowned her alive. Mom died filled with resentment, which led to her rebirth. I must admit, I did feel a slight twinge of sympathy. But reason held me back. Someone who betrays you once is very likely to betray you again. I didn't dare test the limits of human nature. If Mom genuinely regretted her mistakes and knew she was wrong, perhaps after leaving this family, I would support her. Mom, are you tired? I can't understand what you're saying. You should go rest properly, or else Dad will get angry when he comes back. As always, I played the role of the good daughter. But when I came out after washing up, my room, backpack, and closet had been thoroughly ransacked by my mother. Seeing this scene, I knew immediately, Mom had never truly trusted me. Mom. What are you doing? But I never expected my mother to slap me across the face. Why not? It's all your fault. All your fault. You should just die. I never should have given birth to you. Covering my stinging cheek, I stared at her through tear-filled eyes, disbelieving. And I began feeling grateful, at least I hadn't brought the bank card home. Then Mother found the metal box I'd hidden. Her voice suddenly brimmed with desperate hope again. "Harper, tell me, what was in here before?" Hanging my head low, I answered through choked sobs, It was just my saved allowance. I was going to buy you a birthday present soon, but now." I pointed at the shattered sunshine doll beside me. "You broke it, Mom." Mom's eyes showed no remorse, only intense disdain. She offered no explanation, just dropped a casual remark, "Oh, since it's broken, just throw it away." I had nothing more to say, so I just held Mom's hand to comfort her. "Don't be sad, Mom. When I have money, I'll definitely buy you a better one." Mom gave me a complicated look and said lightly, "There won't be a next time." That night, I didn't understand what my mother meant by those words. But the next day, I found out. After making breakfast for my parents as usual, I prepared to leave for school, only to find the door suddenly locked and the keys nowhere to be found. Just then, my father walked out of the bedroom and said to me matter-of-factly, "You don't need to go to school anymore. Stay home quietly and prepare to get married. Your mother and I have already arranged a marriage for you, with your Uncle Marcus's son. Their family offered $500,000 in dowry. Who knew you'd be worth so much, you worthless girl?" At that moment, the blood in my veins boiled uncontrollably. I know Uncle Marcus's son. He fell and cracked his head as a child, and now, at 18, his intelligence is still that of a 7-year-old, slow and dim-witted. I heard he was once praised as a child prodigy, his intelligence almost freakishly brilliant. Sadly, fate was unkind. By 7, he'd become a simpleton. And they actually want to marry me off to someone like this? Now I understand what Mom meant when she said, "There's no future left." Because we didn't win the 200 million lottery, they're selling me to an idiot? I'm utterly disillusioned with my mother. I glanced at the bedroom. Mom was hiding inside, too afraid to face me. As if by avoiding me, the guilt in her heart would simply vanish. My voice was eerily calm. "Why?" It wasn't as if they didn't know my academic achievements were outstanding enough to get into Tsinghua University. In my previous life, I never took the college entrance exams, and I wasn't about to repeat that mistake this time. "What do you mean why?" "Blame yourself for not being a boy. Don't you dare say your mother and I are biased. When your mother gets the money, we'll do IVF and have a baby brother for you. That way, you'll have a brother to rely on. It's for your own good." How utterly ridiculous. After being reborn, my mother still obsesses over having a son. Even if she abandoned me through divorce, I'd actually respect her more. They completely imprisoned me at home, forbidding me from going outside or contacting the outside world. Until Uncle Marcus showed up with his simple-minded son. No need for a wedding ceremony. Our two families can just have a meal and go through the motions. The money saved from not hosting a wedding will all count as your bride price. Dad was naturally overjoyed and immediately ordered me, "Harper, take Ryan to your room to play." I didn't argue these past few days, obediently listening to their arrangements. My parents thought I had given in. But they didn't know, I'd been waiting for this day all along. I brought Ryan into my room. Holding my hand with a heartbroken expression, he said, "My dad told me you're my wife." "Can I call you that?" "Wifey, how can you live in a place like this, so small and shabby? Your family must treat you poorly." How laughable, even a fool could tell they treated me badly. Though Ryan was simple-minded, his clothes were always clean, and his eyes remained clear without a trace of cloudiness. I silently apologized to him in my heart. Then, under his confused and oblivious gaze, I picked up the stick hidden under the bed and swung it at the back of his head. Ryan rolled his eyes and passed out. I quickly hid the stick and, confirming he was merely unconscious, let out a sigh of relief. Even though I had carefully measured the force beforehand, it was still my first time. I worried that hitting too lightly would be ineffective, and hitting too hard might kill him. Thankfully, it worked out. In a panic, I rushed out of the room. "Dad! Uncle Marcus!" Ryan suddenly passed out. "Come quick and see what's wrong." "What?" Uncle Marcus and my dad jumped up in alarm. Pointing at the man on the floor, I cried out with tears streaming down my face, "I don't know what happened, he suddenly fell from my bed, woo-woo. It's all my fault, I shouldn't have let him get on the bed." I deliberately spoke with ambiguous implications to lower their guard. Uncle Marcus immediately called for an ambulance, which arrived quickly and carried the man away in no time. I followed behind. "Can I go too? After all, he'll be my man from now on, and I'm really worried about him." Dad gave me an approving look and agreed. Fortunately, Mom was already undergoing fertility testing at the hospital, otherwise she might have come out to stop us. And so I went to the hospital with the ambulance. Dad didn't come along, only Uncle Marcus, and I waited outside the emergency room. With a thud, I fell to my knees. "Uncle Marcus, I'm sorry, I have to tell you the truth, I was the one who hit Ryan." Uncle Marcus' expression turned fierce upon hearing this, and he raised his hand as if to strike me. I quickly explained, "If you cooperate with me, I can introduce Ryan to the best neurologist in the country." The raised hand slowly lowered, and I knew Uncle Marcus was willing to hear me out. I was forced into marriage. I want to study, not get married. I know I can't persuade my parents, but with my grades, I'm certain I can get into the nation's top medical school if I take the college entrance exam. I can specialize in neurology, then hire the best professors to treat Ryan. I believe he'll recover someday. And I can sign an IOU, all the money you've given my dad will be considered a loan from you, and I'll repay every penny. I convinced Uncle Marcus. He called my dad. I'm not sure what was said, but I knew I wouldn't have to return to that house anymore. He said, "I won't interfere with anything you do, but you'd better keep your word and hire the best doctors for my son. Don't you dare deceive me." Overwhelmed with gratitude, I immediately drafted the IOU. Truthfully, I wasn't sure Uncle Marcus would agree, but Dad had hinted at how much he adored his son. Ryan's mother passed away early, and it was entirely up to Uncle Marcus to raise him. To cure Ryan's illness, Uncle Marcus begged countless people and sought out numerous doctors. A parent's love for their child plans for the long term. I was betting on Uncle Marcus's love for Ryan, even the slightest possibility would make him take the gamble. Moreover, I promised that if Ryan wasn't cured, I would willingly marry him. At this moment, Ryan also woke up. The first thing he did upon waking was smile at me. I couldn't help but smile back, overjoyed at finally escaping that household. "My dear, you look so beautiful when you smile." I couldn't help but blush, secretly vowing to do everything in my power to cure him. The first thing I did upon returning to school was check the bank card I'd hidden away. It was still there. The teacher was quite displeased with my many days of absence. But after I explained everything, she tenderly patted my head. I knew I'd made it through this hurdle. Later, I rented an apartment near the school to focus on exam preparation. With just 3 months left until the college entrance exams, I couldn't afford any slack. And during these 3 months, Mom finally got her wish and became pregnant with a second child. When she found out that Uncle Marcus had taken me away, she didn't say anything. I also learned from Uncle Marcus that it was Mom who had taken the initiative to suggest marrying me off to his son. When I heard this news, I felt nothing inside. My heart was already dead, how could I still feel sad? After I finished the college entrance exam, Uncle Marcus brought me a gift, a declaration severing the parent-child relationship. If I had taken advantage of Uncle Marcus before, now I truly feel grateful to him. To the outside world, he only said he sent me to the countryside, and even my parents didn't know I had smoothly finished my college entrance exams. After all, once the results came out, they wouldn't have let me go so easily. I guessed right, because I had listed my old home as the family address on school records. So when the admissions office came knocking, they were utterly shocked. Uncle Marcus's phone was nearly ringing off the hook. There was no other reason. The bride price Uncle Marcus had paid was $500,000, but now the scholarship offered by the admissions office was a full $1 million. "You tricked us into marrying off our daughter, only for you, the old bastard, to secretly send her to school behind our backs." I'm telling you, that $1,000,000 scholarship belongs to me. When Dad mentioned the million, his eyes gleamed with unconcealed greed. Uncle Marcus knew exactly what kind of man Dad was and coldly refused. You've already severed ties with your daughter, even transferred her household registration. Don't even think about that million. With $1,000,000 about to slip through their fingers, how could Mom and Dad possibly accept it? I bet the moment they learned about the money, they'd already started planning how to spend it. Dad forced Uncle Marcus to hand me over, but Uncle Marcus refused, so Dad made a scene at his doorstep. Now that I'm the top student in the city, Dad's every move naturally attracts media attention. And just like that, it made it onto TV. He claimed Uncle Marcus forced him to marry off his daughter and was now illegally confining me, even calling him a beast. Netizens, unaware of the truth, naturally turned against Uncle Marcus en masse. And that's exactly when I stepped into the public eye. Harper. You finally came out. Daddy will take you home, don't be afraid, no one can hurt you now. Dad excitedly grabbed my arm while Mom stood not far away. Despite being 3 months pregnant, she looked even thinner than before. It seems she's truly suffered quite a bit for this son of hers. She sized me up from a distance, and I responded with a provoking smile. The next moment, Mom's eyes widened in realization. She could finally be certain. I had also been reborn. And she became even more certain those 200 million were definitely in my hands. All these days I've been keeping my head down, just to make her lower her guard so I can escape this household for good. I no longer meet her gaze, now they can no longer control me. In front of everyone, I shook off my father's hand. I made my stance clear. I won't go back with you. You can give up on that idea right now. What did you just say to me? Father exploded with rage. If not for the crowd, he would have hit me right then and there. I repeated my words once more. I won't be going back with you. Just as I thought my father was about to lose control and strike me, my mother called out to him from a distance. Waddling over through the crowd with her pregnant belly, she stood before me, tears streaming down her face. Harper, are you blaming Mom and Dad for marrying you off to Uncle Marcus's son? We didn't want to either, but he threatened us. If we didn't agree, he swore he'd make sure our family of 4 couldn't stay in this city. You know what kind of man your Uncle Marcus is, ruthless and vicious, not to mention his past ties to the underworld. How could we possibly defy him? The more my mother spoke, the more pitiful she sounded. Now, with the help of these kind people, your father and I are willing to risk our lives to pull you out of this den of wolves and bring you home. Look at my wonderful mother, with just a few words she's painted Uncle Marcus as the villain. It's true Uncle Marcus used to be involved in shady dealings, but he's never harmed anyone, in fact, he often helped people in need. Such a good man shouldn't have his reputation ruined because of me. If she wants to cry, I'll cry even harder. I rolled up my sleeves to show old scars while wailing dramatically for the cameras. I don't want to go back. Dad beats me every time he drinks. Look at these marks, aunties and uncles, all from Dad's beatings. You only sold me to Uncle Marcus because you wanted a baby brother. Uncle Marcus is kind, I won't go back with you. You. Dad's veins were bulging on his forehead as Mom held him back. Did your father hit you for no reason? I'm too embarrassed to say this in front of so many people. You stole money from home, skipped classes, and talked back to your elders. Your father only hit you because he was furious. How could you wrong him like this? If you're coveting their family's wealth, then your father and I won't force you. If you think their family is so wonderful, then go be their daughter-in-law. But their son is mentally challenged. That Uncle Marcus you keep saying treats you so well, your father and I are just worried you're too young and might be tricked. If he did anything inappropriate to you, how could I go on living? The people present instantly changed their expressions, murmuring among themselves. What kind of citywide top scorer is she? Being book-smart but morally rotten, no good. Yeah, look how pitiful her parents are. Her mother's even pregnant, tisk tsk. Mom's eyes gleamed with triumph, as if saying, even if you've been reborn too, so what? I can still destroy you again. I clenched my fists, nails digging into my palms. I knew if I stubbornly refused to leave with them today, not only would my reputation be ruined, but Uncle Marcus's would be too. What a well-calculated scheme. In the end, I relented. Mom, Dad, I can go back with you. Mother flashed a triumphant smile, but then I changed my tone. But don't you think you should return the 500,000 Uncle Marcus gave you back then? Return it? Of course. Your father and I would never take a single cent from his family. I nodded. Then let's do it right now, in front of everyone. Since you love me so much, I'm sure you couldn't have spent that money. Now that everyone's here, we'll have witnesses. Mom and Dad's faces instantly changed color, turning all sorts of hues, stammering as they couldn't produce the money. I pressed further. Mom, Dad, you didn't spend the money from selling me, did you? I emphasized the word sell heavily, reminding everyone that buying and selling naturally requires mutual consent. Of course, they couldn't produce the money, that 500,000 had long been spent. You have your scholarship, don't you? Give me your million, and I'll pay you back immediately. Father was the first to lose his composure. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone's expressions shifted again. I've already donated the scholarship to impoverished mountain areas. Slap. Before I could react, Father unexpectedly struck me across the face. How dare you? At this point, no further explanation was needed. They had already lost the upper hand. It seems everything these parents said was lies. The moment they heard the money was gone, they immediately resorted to violence. How could such parents exist? Unable to withstand the crowd's judgment, they could only slink away in shame. Later, I confronted them privately. I did win the lottery. But I donated it all. You'll never get a single cent from me in this lifetime. With no money to be had, they naturally wouldn't let it go. But now, without the power of public opinion to back them and too afraid to provoke Uncle Marcus again, I finally had some peace for a while. I also kept my promise to Uncle Marcus by applying to a top-tier medical university in the country. On the day I returned the money to Uncle Marcus, he personally tore up the IOU. There's no need to keep this document. I believe in you, you're a good kid. I wasn't wrong about you. On the day I left for university, Ryan insisted on seeing me off at the airport. Harper, study hard. I'll be waiting for you to come back and hang out with me. I gave Uncle Marcus a grateful glance. Wise people know when not to say too much. All right. I waved to Ryan from afar. From that moment on, I embarked on another path in my life. Applying to medical school wasn't entirely for Ryan's sake. Now that I had more money than I could spend in a lifetime, someone who grew up poor couldn't bring themselves to splurge even with endless wealth. Since I no longer needed to struggle just to put food on the table, why not save more people? Consider it accumulating good karma, or repaying the heavens for giving me this chance at rebirth. At school, I didn't deliberately flaunt my wealth, keeping everything about food, clothing, housing, and transportation as simple as possible. In college, I participated in many club activities and also volunteered with teachers in mountainous areas, but most of the time I was still busy studying books. The saying that 10 years of studying medicine might not even scratch the surface is no joke. Especially since I chose a combined course in internal and external medicine. I often call Uncle Marcus too, forgot to mention, he's already legally adopted me as his daughter. He said it wasn't worth marrying Ryan at all, so he might as well acknowledge Ryan as a younger brother, so that when he's gone, I could take care of him. Since I went to college, Mom and Dad have settled down a lot. I don't know what kind of dog shit luck Dad stepped on, but he managed to make some money. I knew Mom must have had a hand in it. After all, she had memories of another lifetime. Mom also got her wish and gave birth to a younger brother, but I couldn't believe that she, knowing I had over 100 million in my hands, would just settle down quietly. Sometimes I really wanted to ask her, why do things this way? The calm of my life was finally shattered during my sophomore year. I was studying in the library when a classmate rushed up to tell me my parents were waiting for me at the security office. It was time for this to come to an end anyway. By the time I reached the security office, they were still making a scene, berating the guards for not letting them in. It had been over a year since I'd last seen them. My father had noticeably gained weight, though I'd thought they were doing relatively well. Their clothes were ragged and worn. My mother was holding a small boy in her arms, thin, frail, with an oddly vacant look in his eyes. "See? I told you my daughter studies here." Mom spat out the words at the security guard, spraying saliva in her excitement. I apologized to the security guard and led them outside the school. "What's going on?" Mom didn't bother pretending anymore, her face twisted into something straight out of hell. "I know you won 200 million. Even if you donated all of it, you must still have some left, right? Hand over all the money you have on you, or your father and I will sue you for failing to support your parents. You'll be ruined. Then go ahead and sue. Do you know how to get to the courthouse? Should I call you a cab? What a joke, does she really think she can control me? You." Mom clearly knew that a hard approach wouldn't work, forcing herself to soften her tone. "Harper, Mom truly knows she was wrong. I understand everything you said was for my own good. You love your mom, don't you? Now your little brother is sick and needs a lot of money. Just look at him, no matter how much your father and I have failed, your brother is innocent. Shall I kneel before you?" As she spoke, she actually started to kneel, and when she saw that I didn't stop her, she reluctantly went down on her knees. I turned my body aside, afraid it would shorten my lifespan. "Mom, this is the last time I'll call you Mom. In my past life, when I was overjoyed at the thought of rescuing you from this living hell, how did you treat me? You took my money and lived it up outside, while I froze to death alone in that tiny attic. Do you really feel no guilt at all? Honestly, when I found out you'd also come back, I thought, if you were willing to change, I might have forgiven you. But you didn't. You brought this upon yourself. You've already signed the parental severance agreement, it's legally binding. Even if I donated all that money, I wouldn't give it to you. As for this so-called brother, what does he have to do with me? It's not like I gave birth to him. You insisted on bringing him into this world, so his suffering is your karma." As soon as I finished speaking, my mother lunged at me, ready to strike. But just then, my brother started crying. Distracted by his wails, she forgot about me as she rushed to comfort him. I turned to look at my father and noticed something strange. He seemed unable to hear our argument. When I stepped closer, I realized he had no ears. I finally took out 200 from my wallet and tossed it on the ground. "Consider this money reimbursement for your trip to sue me." After asking Uncle Marcus, I learned that Dad's ears had been hacked off alive by Mom, and he had lost his hearing. I only asked out of curiosity, it had nothing to do with me. After that, they came to school looking for me several times, but they didn't even make it past the gate before security chased them away. Everyone knew I was an orphan. Without parents. Later, Mom borrowed money everywhere to treat my younger brother's illness. Her love for him had reached a manic level. To cure her younger brother's illness, she actually sold our father to human traffickers. But father was an adult, how could he let her act so brazenly? Father drove the car straight into mother, killing her instantly, leaving only my frail 1-year-old brother behind. In the end, I still sent him to the hospital, paid off all his medical bills, and arranged for a welfare institution to take him in. He was innocent, it's just a shame I'm not a good person. Mother didn't die on the spot, she struggled in the hospital for a long time. I made a special trip back just to see her one last time. "Mom, I didn't donate all the money. I still have about 100 million left. Too bad I just don't feel like spending it on you." Mom died with her eyes wide open, and Dad got arrested by the police, sentenced to 20 years. I didn't visit him, there was no point anymore. 3 years after graduation, I boarded a plane abroad for further studies again. Professors overseas sent word that there had been new progress in Ryan's treatment. Uncle Marcus was getting old and couldn't keep up anymore. While studying, I took over his role in caring for Ryan.